Hello friends, welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be doing a little DIY planner refresh for fall in my classic happy planner. I'll be showing you how to make a laminated vellum cover using free printables and set up my frankenplanner with some new seasonal dashboards, sticky dash, and pocket folder. So let's get to it. You'll need a disc punch of some sort, some vellum sheets that you can print on, some cardstock as well that you can print on, these laminating pouches, hopefully in 5mm thickness, this paper cutter or some type of paper cutter, a thermal laminator, and of course a printer. So I went ahead and pre-printed out the items I'm going to laminate today. So these are freebies that I am giving away down below, so do check the description so you can download these for yourself. I created a vellum overlay for the front cover and then a cover backer or dashboard along with a back cover. So those three items will be available below, and we're going to start off by laminating the vellum cover. I've done this process a number of times on my channel, so a lot of the steps that I would normally do, I'm just going to skip over, but because I'm going to do something a little bit different with this one, I wanted to walk you through it. I started off by printing the vellum cover for a Happy Planner classic size and leaving the crop marks on before laminating it. And the reason that I did that is so that I could do this double lamination technique where you laminate it once in a 5mm sheet and then trim it down to just the edges, which works perfectly if you don't pre-cut it. And then you laminate it again. And this makes it so much more sturdy and rugged. It basically takes a 5mm and turns it into a 10mm lamination. This was recommended to me by one of my subscribers, and this is a perfect idea for any of you guys who have a budget laminator like me and don't have the ability to do 10mm sheets but want that rigidity to your covers. So just doubling up here has been the technique that I found that I'm most happy with my current supplies. So I went ahead and laminated that sheet, as you can see, and like I said, I didn't pre-cut it. I left it with the crop marks in so that when I cut it down, I could easily cut it to size with those crop marks, as you can obviously see them, and then re-laminated it just like it was its own cover, and then cut it close to the edge but with that little bit of a border that you do when you have a laminated sheet so that the edges stay sealed. And because of this, I really, just like I said, loved having the heavier weight on my cover. So I'm going to do the same thing to the back cover. And what I decided to do was to laminate the back cover just like I did the vellum cover so that the weights would be the same, but I didn't create a separate vellum cover for the back. So this is a little bit different than what I've done in the past. Usually I'll either do a vellum cover front and back or something where it's just a standard cover, cardstock cover. This one's kind of a mix of the two. And again, just redoing that same technique. On this one, I did pre-cut the cover because it was before I really thought about how I was going to do this. And you can see the way it works with both techniques. Both will work if you forget, but like I said, it really was very convenient to still have those crop marks on the vellum cover when I did it, and then cut it down after I had laminated. At this point, I'm still thinking I'm going to use the front dashboard as just like a cardstock backer and not laminate it. So I'm going to just go ahead and round the corners. I forgot to mention this round corner punch in the very beginning, something I didn't think about, but it's very handy for just kind of trimming out your corners. Mine has gone through a lot and really needs to be sharpened, so it does a good job, but always leaves a little hanger. So I have to go back with my scissors and trim those off. And this is where I decided that I just wanted to have a little bit more protection for this like dashboard cover, if you will, for behind the vellum. So I'm just going to do one lamination on this one. Doesn't need to be as heavyweight since it really won't be the cover of the planner, just like a dashboard backer. But again, like I said, I just kind of wanted it to be protected. And then I also realized that for things to line up perfectly, it really needed to be laminated, because when you punch it, there's a little bit of extra space on the spine where the plastic overlaps. And so if I hadn't cut this pre-laminating the vellum cover, I think it would have been fine if I'd cut it to size after I'd laminated the vellum. But because of that, it just made more sense to laminate it, give it a little bit more rigidity, and to make sure that everything was perfectly aligned with the vellum cover. I just ran it through twice. The first time was fine, but I just wanted it to be a little bit more stuck down to the cardstock. And I'm going to go ahead and take the rounder punch and soften those corners again. And now I have all 3 items ready to go. The front cover there, and then that back cover. So the first thing we're going to do before we punch is figure out where the center mark is on the cover. I've done this a number of times, so I already pre-marked my ruler with the center line so I wouldn't have to guess. But my covers that I've made for you guys are 9.75 inches high. So that's about a ½ inch wider than the normal Happy Planner classic size page, so that you know there's a ½ inch on both the width and the height added on. So instead of just being 7 and 9.25, it is 7.5 by 9.75. So I marked the center mark, which is actually 4.375 for those of you who need the measurement, and just use this Sharpie to mark that spot. And then I take my power punch, as you can see here, and start by looking and putting that very first hole right where I see the mark I made. And I just turn it upside down so I can see through and see where it's going to punch. And then from there, I use the guide to do left and right holes off of that center mark. This has been the only way I found that really guarantees that I have a good centering on my cover, since it is a little bit wider than a normal Happy Planner Classic. So if you're using that as a guide, it will be off slightly. My punch is in need of sharpening. I've tried to sharpen it a couple of ways. It has gotten better in the actual rounded part of it, but the plastic being a little bit flimsy near the edge, it still kind of hangs up on that. So I will go through and kind of trim up any hanging pieces from my punching. I've used this punch for a number of years now, and like I said, I did try to sharpen it, but I'm not real sure how best to sharpen it aside from what I've done so far. I've tried foil, and that didn't work at all. And then somebody suggested sandpaper, which actually I think helped with that mushroom head sharpening, but I'm still having trouble with the kind of stem area of the mushroom, getting that to punch cleanly. I'm just using some scissors to clean those up, but same process of finding the center mark and punching from there on all 3 covers. Make sure you punch the right side. Sometimes you're not thinking you can punch the wrong side, so definitely figure that out before you go through. And then once I'm done with punching it, that's it, you guys. So hopefully that was enough to kind of teach you how to do it if you've never done it before. Now we're going to move on to actually setting up my planner for fall. I'm going to be stripping out all of my summer seasonal items that I put in, including the cover and this really cute pocket pages I made. I'm also going to take off this sticky dash, which isn't really seasonal, but I'm going to replace it with a fall version, so I'll be taking this off as well. A lot of the items you're going to see me add in, I actually created myself in a DIY fall refresh in 2022. So if you want to see how that went and just the whole process of creating these items, do check out that video. I'll link it above here and in the description below. But yeah, so I didn't want to go through those same steps again since I had already done a video on how I created those. But since this cover's new and it is a freebie, I wanted to show you guys how you could create it for yourself. So we've got that nice vellum cover overlay, which I love, with the watercolor leaf, and then this autumn mood image. And then we'll go ahead and do the back cover as well, which again, I'm just going to do a single cover here on the back. I created this watercolor dashboard for the inside cover, which I really love, but I'm not including that in the freebies. I'm going to try to actually put some of these into my shop later, so if you're interested, just let me know in the comments below, and I'm going to see what I can do. I've been playing around with trying to figure out how to do editable files, and hopefully I'll figure it out by the time this video goes live and be able to add them to my shop if I can. So that dashboard will maybe be added to my shop. And right now I'm going to start by adding in my new sticky dash here, which actually I created last year using a Planny Thing acetate sheet. And then this leaf backer that I think I got from Michael's. It was plain on the back, so I ended up gluing it to a piece of cardstock that I had in my stash from this same book I used last fall. Just kind of layered those together to make it a little bit more substantial. And then I had that Autumn Leaves Jesus Doesn't card that I didn't end up using last year, so I added that to the back for now. And now we've got my new dashboard set. So like I said, I'm going to try to get these into my shop somehow. I really love how they turned out. I kind of went with like a literary theme for my fall, so I just love the like book page backer. I ended up printing the book page in reverse on the back and then printing inbox on the front of that vellum. I think that turned out perfectly, and then layered that with the cardstock leaf and repeat of the dashboard. So you can kind of see the process is going to be the same on most of these new dashboards, just with a different leaf and a little bit of a different color scheme, but setting up each section with a vellum overlay with the book page backer and then the double-sided leaf cardstock dashboard. So like I said, we'll see what I can do to get this into my shop. Definitely think I should be able to get something in, but I don't know. It's trickier than I thought to really get the edible files going. For all 6 dividers in my main area of my planner, I created this dashboard set. So there's a set of 6, which are perfect for anybody who's got that 6 divider set that I've mentioned in previous setups from Amazon, but any kind of setup will work with that. I've also wanted to try and see how it looked with the vellum on top of that dashboard, which I actually think looks pretty nice, but I'm going to keep them linked together right now for the time being. I just find that when I turn to the tabs, I have to grab the dashboards as well to turn it. So it might be more convenient to have them in front of the plastic dashboard, but for now we'll leave them as is. And now I'm going to drop in the pocket folder I created last year and move my pin loop onto it. I'm also going to take off this little extra piece and add it to the back of the sticky dash just to kind of beef that up a little bit, because I don't really feel like this needs to have more to it. And then drop in my little sticky note storage item there that I had in there. I've been trying to get my pin loop to really stick to this, but it doesn't really like the lighter weight of the cardstock and the paper feel, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the back of my cover. And it needs a little bit of a refresh here on the glue. I made this pen loop, actually both of my pen loops, using a strip of leather and I do have a DIY video on that if you want to see how I made them. But they're really great, and I use double-sided tape, or like you saw there, some of that glue runner to stick them down, and then it makes them easy to pick up and move around when you put them on plastic. So we're going to go ahead and go with that. Now I'm going to start adding in the dashboards I made last year, which were so beautiful. I couldn't help but try to reuse them, so I decided I'm going to use those on my bottom tabs in my reference section. I added new overlay dashboards for that with some literary quotes about fall, and I just love how that looks together. So I'm just laying them in right now on top of my summer dashboards because there's some items behind there that I need to keep covered, but I wanted to show you guys both the front and the back of each of the dashboards. So we're going to leave those in for now, but just know that those are items that will be removed after the video is over. So like I said, I created new overlays for each of those covers, and that's another thing that I could easily add into my shop. So if you're interested, again, let me know in the comments. I'd love to get you guys' feedback on what you'd like to see. And something like this, where it doesn't need to be edited, would be an easy add if it's something you're interested in. And that's it basically for all the items that are going to go into the planner this year. I really love these fall vibes. Took me a little while to figure out what I wanted to do, but I'm so excited for these. I can't wait to get into this planner and just get nice and cozy. Okay, you guys, so we're going to do a quick flip through of everything I just added to my frankenplanner setup, starting with this vellum cover and this backer for that cover. And I've got my pen loop there on the back of that, which is actually a nice place for it. I've also got my sticky dash from last year, like I said, on a piece of fall acetate from Planything. And I had actually added some clear photo corners to that dashboard last year to help it stay kind of connected to its backer. I want to do that again, so I went ahead and reused the one I saw there, but one of them was a little bit loose, so we're going to replace it. And I'm just using these clear photo quarters you can get at any craft store. And I'll just stick it down where I think it's going to go on the back of the acetate, and then kind of tuck in that cardstock into it. So like I said, they'll kind of stick together. And I like that. Everything's looking good. I've got my brand new big leaf sticky note in there, which I'm excited about. Perfect for fall. And then I added in that pumpkins to the additional backside there, so it beefed it up a little bit, gave it a little bit more pizzazz. Then we have my inbox dashboards, and next my goals. Then we have productivity, and then my schedule section. And next we have my reference section, which I'll go through the bottom tabs for you now so you can kind of see how this section's set up. My first tab is my personal tab, and there you can see the dashboard layering. Then we have the business tab. The social media tab. And finally, the education tab. And my last side divider is my notes tab, along with this pocket folder I had made last year, and this back cover with my pen loop. And that's pretty much it, you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also, too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. and we'll see you next time. Bye!